A bipartisan group of 5 senators led by Lindsey Graham. That's not Lindsey Graham. They want to talk with the commanding general of the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, Mazloum Abdi. General Mazloum is the central figure right now. Senators Graham, Van Hollen, Blackburn, Shaheen, and Blumenthal, can you believe this? Urging the State Department tonight, indeed the Secretary of State, to expedite a visa for Mazloum so that he can testify hastily, quickly, and profoundly before Congress about conditions on the ground in Syria. It is bizarre that Lindsey Graham would be leading that effort, and to try to make some sense of it, we're joined tonight by retired Army Lieutenant Colonel Dan Davis. Dan, good to have you with us here.
Good to be here, thanks.
Former Senior State Department Advisor Morgan Wright, great to have you with us, Morgan.
Hey, Lou.
And let me start with you, Dan, if I may. This is rather unseemly, I think, to be as kind, is to see some senators telling the President's Secretary of State what he should do with a visa for the head of the Syrian Defense Forces after this president has just done something historic, like create that ceasefire. Your thoughts?
Well, this I think is indicative of many in Washington, foreign policy establishments, the so-called political elite, that want to keep us in every war that's ever happened forever. And the problem with this is, I mean, there's many problems, but the biggest one is they have a bad misunderstanding of what these troops on the ground are actually accomplishing, and there's really not much. And President Trump is absolutely right to get them out of there. I wish he'd have gotten them out in March of 2018 when he first said, but then, you know, Secretary of Defense Mattis pushed back on that until he finally got rid of him. Now President Trump said he's going to move them out, and that is absolutely the right answer.
Yeah, I think that the Pentagon may have figured out now the president is willing to watch those generals shed stars at an alarming rate until he gets what he says done. It's really bizarre to me, Morgan, that we're watching a chain of command challenge Pentagon. They don't seem to understand that when the commander-in-chief speaks, they damn well better listen.
You know, Lou, and let's put something in perspective. Today is the 36th anniversary of the bombing of the Marine Corps barracks in Beirut, Lebanon. 220 right. Marines, 18 sailors, 3 soldiers, and 55 French. And a second one, guess what, perpetrated by Hezbollah and Iran's influences in that. They're in this region. So, you know, we've got to quit looking at this so parochially and start looking at the bigger picture. Nobody has ever achieved peace in the Middle East. And for people to keep dying in pursuit of a goal that is unattainable by anybody, you know, who takes a look at this, and I think a lot of these moves are the right moves is to get us out of these things. And, you know, it's tough to find people that says, well, we were against the war before we were for it. That's what we're finding is almost a John Kerry-esque type of approach to now we want to be in a war that we were against in the first place. Right.
Well, there was great clarity, though, in Lebanon 36 years ago. And the fact is the President of the United States chose not. Even though he was being urged by the military-industrial complex and some of the most hawkish senators in particular ever to launch a full military assault as a result of that, and he chose not to. Colonel, this is I think, a critically important time, and I think Morgan's point about the choice not to go to war is an important one, and I thought you were intimating the same thing. This is a historic president for so many reasons. He now is a historic president for choosing not to listen to the neocons and the chicken hawks, whatever you want to call them, who insist that, and the military-industrial complex, of course, who want us to continue to spend trillions of dollars and the precious blood of our men and women in uniform in the Middle East.
Yeah, Lou, and this is the reason why President Trump won, because he was the only one that was saying we need to get out of these wars. The American people can see there is nothing to gain for us. We don't do anything. None of this is for our security. This is for Baghdad's security. This is for Kabul's security. It's not for our security, and they're tired of seeing our sons and daughters die for that. And my brothers in arms, I've seen many of them die, and for no gain to our country. This is absolutely the right thing. It's long in coming, and I hope he follows through and does all of it.
Morgan, you get the last 30 seconds.
You know, and Lou, if we take a look at this, too, there's a lot of reasons also to pull back from doing this. One of them is we've got a military that has spent a lot of, as the colonel was saying, a lot of precious blood, but we are overextended. We are, we are running out of armaments. You know, a lot of the stuff needs to be replaced, repaired. We need to pull back and be able to regroup and reconstitute this force to become very lethal.
Thank you, Mr. President. Morgan, thank you. Colonel, thank you.